Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
This entire military is one cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gabfest show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We've seen war. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Join Terry with Tracer Rounds every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern to hear interviews with veteran artists, veteran business owners, and businesses that support veterans. Catch us on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and MB Radio. If you miss a show, you can listen again on Wreaths Across America Radio every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Tune in to see if you are on target. MBR, giving veterans a voice.
And welcome back to the Trace Around Show, and I'm Terry, your host, and with me tonight I have Rameses, who is the president and founder of QRF Up. Welcome.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so happy to have you. We talked a little bit last week, and you kind of explained what you're doing. So can you tell us a little bit about your military service? I know you're a Marine veteran and an Army veteran. How does that work out?
Yeah, so I started my time in 2003 in the Marine Corps, and then from there I was injured and then ended up going into the Army, and left out of the Army as my transition time. I did infantry in both. I enjoyed the infantry and did medical 68 in the medical field.
So you're 68 whiskey?
Yeah, a medic.
Okay.
And then I was able to do some medical stuff with them. After that, my transition was relatively easy. I transitioned into the civilian world. And as I transitioned, I just kept seeing brothers and sisters that kept literally passing away from suicide. And the numbers just kept increasing and increasing. And for me, that was something that really was necessary to address, because there was a lot of brothers and sisters that, survived some really horrific things in Iraq and Afghanistan and, Africa, wherever we deployed to, and coming back now to the civilian world and having that end in, by taking their life by suicide was really something that made me want to do something about it.
So you did what work after you got out of the military? Did you do the medical field or did you do something else?
So I was a law enforcement officer for about a year and a half, firefighter for a little bit. I did, private security for a little bit. I tried it all. And just couldn't find myself. I just couldn't find what I wanted to do. I even did a little bit of like domestic violence, sexual assault advocacy, everything you could think of under the sun. Just tried to find my place again in the civilian world, and it didn't fit. For me, it didn't fit. There was too much red tape. Doing all of these things, that I know we can do as veterans and first responders, came with a lot of restrictions for us.
So did you find a lot of help when you transitioned out of the military, or Or did you just kind of flounder and just try to figure it out? Because like you said, you tried on several things for size and they didn't quite work out for you. So you were like, now what?
Yeah, it was so difficult because there was just not enough. Everybody kind of does a traditional path. Infantry guys go into the law enforcement side or firefighting side. Some transition into, if they're air wing guys, they go into the piloting side or they'll do mechanical side. Everybody kind of stays in their, perspective of their MOSs. They don't really transition out of that. And something happens where we don't feel fulfilled because it's not the same as when we were in the military, right? And it just it doesn't have that same transition. Not only that, but a lot of us encounter like legal issues, right? We'll get into drinking, right? We can't focus on the right relationships because we either aren't honest with ourselves about who we are or what we've been, and we take it out on our partners, or we hide from people. And that happens a lot in the military. Like our brothers and sisters are full of backgrounds that are very, very diverse.
Yes.
And you guys said it in your intro. It was so well said. People who have fathers, mothers, don't have them. Adoption, all that stuff, and it just you thrust us into greatness, and then now we come back into the civilian world and we feel unutilized, right? Like underutilized.
Yeah, I mean, because we're responsible for big things when we're in the military, and then when we come out, there's like, well, you can't even have a procurement card where you spend $1,000. Like that's too much. That limit's too high. And you're like, I was in charge of millions of dollars worth of equipment, or whatever the case, or millions of dollars worth of a vehicle, or something like that. And you come out and you feel like, well, now what? Because I don't feel like I'm of value anymore. I knew I had a place in the military and I knew what my job was. And now here I'm kind of floundering. I'm kind of lost. I don't know where I fit.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the biggest battle we find, right? I honestly think that sometimes when we get out, we still hold on to this really black and white mentality of like good and bad. And then when we do bad, we feel like we are redemptible, right? Like we don't have redemption within us. We're not worth it anymore. We've muddied our uniform. We've done so much that just it can't be fixed, and that's not true whatsoever. Anything can be fixed. People know this, and they'll try to tell you that it can't be done. That's how we discourage people. Like it's too hard, or you can't do it.
Right.
It's not what we want to do at QRF Up. We really do not discourage anybody from, we don't accept things, right? But we also don't judge. So we let them be at their pain, but we also try to give them solutions to fix what happened in their past and what got them to that dark place. Because sincerely, it's important, right? I've been through it, and I advocate that a lot, that I myself have done a lot of growing up to do. I've done a lot of mistakes. I've done a lot of different things. Growing is never a finish line. It's always continuous, right?
Right.
Things, education and growth and all of that is always going to be continuous. Forgiving is one of those things that we got to learn ourselves. But yeah, to give you a concept of what the application is, it's super simple. I always like showing it to people in physical version because, it's on an app. It loads up like that. And then all of a sudden it's just a red button. It's literally a red button that somebody can activate, push a button, and it changes color. And it'll send out an SOS to a therapist and a text message, an email, and a phone call. And then they pick it up and just start talking to the person, right? There's no language barriers. There's no press 2 or 3 for, if you're a veteran or a first responder or a family member, it doesn't matter to us. You get a button, you get activated to a responder that's going to talk to you. And we get to the root of the issue and we help you right then and there. We don't wait 10 weeks from now or next week, or if it's Friday, we don't wait till Monday. We will help you right then and there.
So explain what your organization does, because you're a 501c3.
Correct.
And so you started it because you saw so many of your brothers and sisters, so many service members that have taken their own life just because of the struggles they had internally or externally, could be too. But so how did you get it started? And then tell us what it is and what it does. You showed us the app, kind of explain the backstory on how the organization came about, how you landed on that as a career path for yourself, and then what that 501c3 does.
I love being able to say this now. I couldn't say this maybe last year, but I can say it now. We started out as a guerrilla unit, right? We were very, very behind the scenes doing things that were probably not kosher with everybody. But we started out with 14 therapists that were in a place where they said, "Look, we'll donate our time." And then we got an application from a great organization called My SOS Family, and they gave us the time and the application to use their brand, as a pilot, and we launched it through them. They were able to hit the button, and they would just call us on the phone at the moment, right? We didn't really have it all niched out and worked out, so they would call us on the phone, and we would talk to them on the phone. We wouldn't record anything. We would just record. We were like a check mark. It's a male or a female of age 34. That's all we knew. So we'd get their name and number, and we would pilot this until we hit a year. And after that, we took this back, and we were able to show, like the VA and other organizations, like, look, this functions, this works. And then finally in 2025, we had the application created all the way for marketing, the images and all that was ours. And then we started using it in Memorial Day of 2025.
Wow.
But we're relatively new.
Yeah, you are. But I mean, could you have any sense of how many people you've touched in that year since you've been official live?
And I would say it's a blend, right? Like, we have a WhatsApp number, we have our website that people reach out to us on. We have Instagram where people reach out to us on. So all combined, not just the application itself, we'd say about 7,000 people that we've reached and helped sincerely, with help of 22 to 0. The other organizations being like All American Heroes, Salute to the Fallen, so many different organizations that have came up and really assisted us in this to help veterans and first responders, that really want to be able to help in a way where it's more than just a Band-Aid approach. We get them off the ledge, they put them into that long-term care, and then give them whatever resources they need in the longevity of things.
So you mentioned that you have volunteers in almost every state or in every state.
Yep. So we have about, at least 2 to 3 in every state, but some have 35, some have 20, some have 14. It just depends on where we have more people that follow us, right, on that page, and then sign up because there's a 12-course education program that they have to go through to become veteran ready and first responder ready, to kind of be able to respond physically. All of our therapists are from the University of Utah, University of Delta, Mississippi, and then we have about 40 from our school here in Iowa called Mercy College. And those are all students that are going to become psychiatrists, psychologists, and they assist us with the calls because they have to get hours to become licensed. So it's a great trade-off for us.
So you said that they push the button, you get connected, you can talk to a therapist. So at what point does the volunteers get notified, or do they stand up? And then what happens after they stand up? What's the process look like when they get there?
Yes. So the process is relatively simple. From when the therapist activates them, because they'll activate them, right? It's up to the therapist and the first responder or the caller if they need physical help. Our pilot did teach us that about 60% of those calls get resolved by our therapist, and then 24 to 25 get resolved by the actual teams on the ground. And so they're not super necessary, which is okay, but we would love to increase that so that we could actually have more physical help. They are typically called when somebody is so elevated that they can't activate the plan that we've created for them physically, right? They're just too elevated. They need more assistance besides the phone call. They need somebody to come in and tell them, okay, this is what the plan that I've received from the therapist is. You're going to go to a hotel room tonight. We're going to keep you here for 30 days. I'm going to stay with you for anywhere from 24 hours to 72 hours to kind of just stabilize you, because our whole purpose is to decriminalize the response of suicide, ideation. We want to make sure that if we're responding, we're not calling law enforcement. We're not hospitalizing you, because that doesn't help you feel comfortable to reach out for help and actually continue on a path of help. What it does is it actually, makes people want to shelter themselves and be like, see, if I reach out for help, they're going to hospitalize me. They're going to take me where I don't want to go. Typically, it's jail. Their guns get taken away, their rights get taken away, kids, wives, everything happens to them. And that's the one thing we're trying to fight back on is like, look, we can help our brothers and sisters without elevating them into a place where they don't have to be. We can truly help.
And you mentioned that you don't have to have served a certain amount of time. You've just either been a first responder or you've been in the military in some fashion and you help family members, and there's no proving up one way or another to get help.
Yes. That's one of the biggest things that we've really educated ourselves on is as we've learned more organizations, they have these real straight forward criteria of like you have to be honorably discharged. Well, typically those guys aren't going to need as much help as somebody who's dishonorably discharged because they have TBI or PTSD happening in their life, right? Yeah. So we expanded that and said, look, we don't care what your criminal background is. We don't care what your discharge was. As long as you served, 2 weeks in the Marine Corps or in the Army or in the Navy, in the Coast Guard, whatever branch you were in, you were law enforcement for 1 month and decided this is not for me. You already hit, some sort of traumatic and experience there for it to make you want to quit. We're going to help you, right? And we're going to give you the assistance you need. Off-season firefighters in the wildland, that's a typical high peak for them when they commit suicide, right? So even when they're not in season, we want to be able to help them. Again, for us, there is no real red tape. There's no reason for us not to be able to help you. So you can call at any point in time. Like I said, you have to download the application, go through the process of actually downloading it the right way so it functions in your area, and then we'll be able to, assist you. But if
you said that you can get the app on Apple or the Google Play Store, and it's free to download, and do you have to sign up a certain amount of information, or what's needed to sign up?
So there's some information that goes through it, but after you download the application, you'll have an admin person reach out to you to validate your, that you were in fact in the military for at least a week or whatever that may be. We will talk to you because we'll go through ID.me and they'll do all sorts of stuff for us to validate all that. Once that process is done, we activate the application so you're ready to hit the button. Even if you downloaded and started wanting to talk to us, we could do that. We can transition you from one of us into a therapist and they'll start talking to you.
That's really good. So what does the follow-up care look like when you've activated a button? Like you've got a person or maybe it's you've activated the button and somebody's responded to you on the phone and you've talked to them. Then what's the follow-up care look like? What happens next?
The great thing about our follow-up is that it's continuous. It doesn't go from that call to like next week. Immediately the next day, we already have people ready to help you with whatever that plan that we put in order was, right? Sometimes we have people that are going through relationship issues. That's probably one of our biggest ones that we have, right? Yeah. Going through a relationship issue, they needed to get out of the house. We got them into a hotel room. We know the hotel room they're in, so we go in and actually see them the next day. We'll go talk to them. Hey, I'm going to take you to the vet centers. We typically prefer vet centers because they enact therapy sessions faster and groups faster than the VA ever will. So we'll take them to a vet center. The vet centers bring them in, talk to them, give them an assessment. And after that, we'll take them home because we'll be with them. Our responder will drive them back to the hotel room so they can stay with them. We'll feed them. We'll give them, whatever they need. If they need clothing because they can take clothing from there, we'll get them some clothing. If they need gas, we'll give them gas cards, whatever that may be that we need to do. We will provide for them thanks to, like I said, we have a lot of partners that are willing to contribute to this resource that we are.
So do responders get paid anything, or do they, I don't know how far they travel to get to somebody. Is there any kind of compensation for them, or is it just volunteers? If you're looking for people to volunteer, I just want them to know what that looks like. What's expected of them, I guess.
Yeah, momentarily, unfortunately, we can't. because that brings in different criteria of what we have to do. If we bring in pay, it makes us have to do different things legally.
Yes.
So, volunteer basis gives us a lot of leeway for what we can do to help our brothers and sisters. And that's a big reason why we do it as a volunteer basis. Our therapists are all volunteers. Our staff are all volunteers. None of us take a pay, myself included. Like, nobody takes pay here. We do this all out of just our willingness to help each other and, keep people going. People always ask about us, like, with your background, how does this, how can you run this? I'm like, well, we're on Candid. We're in the IRS. We're a 501c. You can look us up. We've filed our taxes correctly. We've done everything. Like, we don't take a dime. This is truly a free application for our brothers and sisters because people care.
Right. That's amazing. So I know that you've got some other programs out there on top of this app that calls for help if you need it, but you've got a housing program and you're working on equine therapy. Can you tell us a little bit more about some of those things?
Yes. So we are transitioning into what's called the actual acute care, the aftercare of things. So right now we do have a facility that is in Homestead, Florida, 219 units where we can help with rental assistance and getting them transitioned there. And we provide that through SSVF. The rent gets paid for. It's an amazing program and it's an amazing facility. We are trying to revamp that whole situation to another location in Florida, southern Florida, where we can actually have the equine, the HBOT, and all sorts of different things under one facility. But our pilot is going to be in Iowa. And that's what we were talking about with the equine. Right now, we are just facilitating equine with our horse trainer, Chase Laurels. And she's an amazing, equine therapist. She provides therapy 7 days a week, all the way up to like 9 at night, and does amazing work.
Wow, that's a lot of that's a lot of hours with a horse. Believe me, I have horses too, so I understand the challenge of being on call that long and doing all that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, who's then paying for the horses and all that? Because that type of facility is definitely not cheap, and it comes with a lot of expenses.
So some of it is donated, some of it is ran by her. She has a business on the side where she does training. And then she also does like birthdays and different things like that. So
Lessons
again,
and things.
everything that we get has literally been, given to us by volunteers. It's one of the most amazing things that has ever happened to us because this has been attempted many times, but people haven't been able to really connect all the pieces. And,
Right.
thank God that we were able to do it all the right way and, get the right people. And it's been a challenge. We've gone through, oh man, I don't know, maybe over 100 staff at this point.
Oh wow.
Of rotating staff. We've had a lot of mistakes, we've had a lot of successes, but we're learning and we're trying to keep it going because what matters at the end of the day is the men and women that need the help.
So would you say that the people that you've helped with the application, would you say some of them come back and volunteer and find that they, find value in trying to help another since they got the help, they're trying to basically pay it forward?
Yeah, that is literally what happens sometimes. It's somebody that has been helped, then in turn says, I want to be a responder. I want to be able to respond. And that's how we get these pockets of heavy responders. Is, people recommend other people. They're like, look, these guys helped me when I had nothing. Come and help. They need it. And it's really, really amazing. We have, I want to say that 2 other veterans that really have facilitated this for me. This idea came from a really, really good brother of mine. His name is Peter Flom. He was an amazing guy. He's an amazing guy. He really is. He would get on the phone late at night and just would call everybody, right? And I was like, there's got to be a better way for us to do this. But that's how it started was my friend Peter Flom would call everybody on the phone on his Rolodex of people, all the Marines and people that he knew, and he'd check up on them. He'd like call and, hey, are you okay? How's it going? How are you tonight? And he really made something click in my mind. Like there's got to be a button we could just press where like somebody could help them if they really needed their assistance or they wanted help. So he's the mind for all of this. And then, the other guy, his name is Matthew Couch. He's from Missouri, an amazing brother, really supportive in a lot of different things and in a lot of different ways. He truly has been one of the only men that I've ever met that even in my worst days, has stayed behind me, where he knows, he's like, look, we can be those monsters, but we know that we're also light, right? We provide light for humans. And that's those two men have really shown me how to be a better brother to people.
That's awesome. I think it's really amazing that you've created this app that's so it's so versatile. There's so much that can be done with it, as far as you're reaching out to people and getting the resources that you need around that person. So either therapy or just somebody to come and be there with that person. So when you take somebody into like the home program or the equine therapy program, are there certain qualifiers for people to be eligible for those types of things?
No, just a veteran.
Yeah. So I liked your approach. I read about your approach to the housing where it was a step down program where the first 3 months you provided 100% towards the housing, and then gradually you backed that support off so that the veteran could take, responsibility for their own care and their own well-being, basically. So I like that you've done that because really that puts skin in the game, as they say, for the person, and not just a handout. It's a hand up. So I like that approach.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of the best things that I've seen work. I've seen it in other organizations that do amazing work. They don't try to baby you into surviving. They actually tell you, like, look, I'll walk with you, but I'm going to let you go at some point, and you're going to have to keep walking.
Yeah.
But I can only walk with you for so long, and it's up to you to do it afterwards, right? To keep moving forward and keep wanting to succeed. And that's really the mentality we have. Like I said, we don't judge, but we also don't carry you all the way through. Like, you have to want to do it a little bit yourself too.
Yeah, I mean, you can't make any difference for somebody that doesn't want a difference.
Cool.
So if they just want to stay the same and don't want to change, there's nothing you can do about it. It has to be their willingness to be different or do different or ask for help and then, take training and take coaching to be different. And if they're not at that point, there's really not much you can do to help them.
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of what you say is, it resembles, you know, a lot of what we do here already. It's a lot of real compassion and fostering that mutual respect, because it's a lot of respect that has to happen.
Yeah.
Trust between one another, trusting that, look, we're not gonna take what you're telling us and use it or weaponize it against you. We're here to help you. We're really truly here to give you an opportunity to come out of that darkness, give yourself an opportunity to forgive yourself, and truly want to continue on this path of life. That we're not going to tell you you won't hit that button next month again, or 2 weeks from now, or maybe 5 years from now, but we want to at least give you an opportunity to say that, what, I'm going to hit the button again because those guys did help. They were able to help me. They didn't make me feel like a burden. They helped me out. And that's sincerely the basic of what we want to do, is be able to have people come back as many times as they need it. Because as you and I know, PTSD doesn't go away. We don't
Right.
heal from it. It's just how to better cope with those things. Being able to really, work some of the steps that we help you with, but also being able to be strong enough to remember, you have to do a little bit of work yourself to get better, and make your life easier.
Yeah, you definitely have to work to be better. You can't just hope for the best. You really have to do the work that it takes to get to the point where you're functioning well and you're successful. Is there also, you mentioned some legal, financial type issues that could surround somebody that's calling for help. So if somebody has an addiction to alcohol, to drugs, something like that, do you have some kind of program beyond counseling that kind of helps them with that addiction recovery as well?
Yes, we have. Oddly enough, that's probably the bigger programs that we find. We have Fob Razor out of Texas. They have a facility where they'll have somebody come in, get sober, and help them out. We also have AFIL out of Iowa, where they will have transitioning houses where they'll help them get sober. And then, we have another facility in Florida. The name is escaping me right now. Oh my goodness. I want to say it's Boulder Rock. They were out of Colorado, Boulder Rock something. I can't remember the last name of it, but their organization does a lot of also recovery, but they mix in TBI with it. So what some of the like alcohol and narcotics does with TBI, because people don't understand what TBI looks like for us, how it makes us behave, how it makes us, react to things.
Right. I mean, so you could have competing things going on between TBI, PTSD, and the either drug problem or the alcohol problem. And so it's really kind of hard to navigate how you respond to that, because you don't know which ones that play. I mean, to me, I mean, that's what I would think. I'm not medical, so I am not speaking from a point that I would know, but it just seems like sometimes it would be hard to know which thing you're dealing with particularly. I mean, you can tell if somebody's drunk, but you can't tell if it's because a PTSD episode or TBI, they're not thinking clearly or something. How do you navigate some of those things? Because that has to be very delicate, I would say.
That's why we use a therapist, because they are the medical professional, right? The responder is there only to assist physically. The therapist knows exactly what they're speaking to. They understand that when they encounter somebody, they know what type of elevation it is, why they're doing this. They know what to ask. We don't have a script for this specific reason, because if we use a script, it narrows down what that person's going to react to us like. So we just talk to them like everyday normal people. Thank you for calling. We want to know what's happening with you today. Just talk to me. Talk to me. You don't have to, feel forced to share anything. Just talk to me, right? And then we go from there. Once we get to whatever that route is, then we understand what we have to put that plan into place for them. And like I said, we do not tailor a plan to everybody the same way, because that has never worked in the world of ever having organizations around. We can't tailor everybody in the same thing. Okay, you need therapy, you need Narcotics Anonymous, and you need to be in a hospital. Like, how many times has that worked? We're in 2026. Since, even let's just start about the invasion of Iraq, Afghanistan, 25 plus years, and our suicide rates are, tripling. Obviously we're not doing something right. We're not working the right way. So why keep doing the same approach? Why keep feeding the same organizations that haven't done what they were supposed to do with these things? Let's work together and make these specific treatments fit that one person, instead of trying to fit everybody into treatments.
Yeah, and we talked too last week, and I found this very interesting. Most things you hear are 22 a day, veterans commit suicide, but you're actually saying the number is a lot higher. Can you kind of tell the audience why you think the number is a lot higher and where you're getting your figures?
So our data comes specifically from the CDC and APA, and we've gathered information from other organizations as well. And one of the things that we've understood, the VA is very limited. They're not bad. They're not, these like luminous people that want to be super nefarious. They're not. They have restrictions, and they're restricted by a lot of things. One of the things is how they can actually call a suicide, right? Not only that, but who is registered under the VA can be also registered, can be numbered under that, right? So if you're not registered under the VA, you're not a service-connected veteran, you're not going to be marked down as a suicide if you end life that way. Not only that, but car accidents aren't, car wrecks or anything that you do in a vehicle isn't considered a suicide unless you leave a note or you've called somebody prior to that and told them, like, this is how I'm going to end it. When you go into an overdose, unless you leave a note or you call somebody, same thing. And we know that in genders, those are the difference between what type of suicides are happening, right? So the criteria is very specific on how they look at these numbers. We know that they're not corrected the right way. And then when it comes to law enforcement, once you're no longer a law enforcement officer, you are no longer considered under those suicide rate numbers. You have to be an active member of an agency for yourself to be considered a law enforcement suicide. So it's again, there's a lot of things that kept track of. Same thing with firefighters, EMS. And EMS is probably even worse because they have a high rotation of them. So you don't know
Yes.
how many of them that were EMS at one point or, die by suicide. And then we have, corrections officers, dispatch officers. There's so many different people that are all frontline workers that people don't think of when they're looking at these numbers.
You're right, and I agree with you on dispatch. In where I work, we've also included animal service people because they see a lot of things and they have enforcement authorities too, and they deal with a lot. They deal with hoarding situations and with people that don't want them there and become violent, and so they see a lot of really hard to see things sometimes when it comes to animal puppy farms, that type of thing. So we include them in the first responder category in the sense that they get some additional counseling services and things like that should they need it or want it, because we find that they see things too, just like firefighters, police officers, military. They see things that the ordinary person may or may not ever have to see in a lifetime. Hopefully they don't, because some things, you just can't walk back. Once you see them, you've saw them, and it's hard not to keep that vision in your head sometimes. And so having those services to talk about some of those things that you see, because, I find, and I found where I work that having a peer-to-peer network of people that understand that job, understand what you see, understand what you go through is so important, because if you're just talking to someone that can't really see or know what you've been through or have some awareness or understanding, it's kind of hard to talk to them sometimes and kind of hard to open up if you don't feel like they understand at what point you're coming from.
Yes, 100%. And every point you just made is exactly why we don't look at paperwork, right? We look at it only to validate your service, and that's it. Aside from that, you can't tell somebody what their PTSD looks like to them.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that we as military and first responders have to extinguish, right? We got to put that fire out right now. We harm each other on a higher level than most civilians would ever do to us because, we think of levels of severities of effectiveness, right? Or combat or things like that, eliteness. And it's not true. There is more survivors' guilt than there is of anything else, combat, right? There's guys that have deployed that never got to do anything and have so much guilt because they were like, I trained for this, I did all of this and never got to experience my occupation, right? And we're like, look,
Yeah.
that's okay. Put that service to something else now, right? And sometimes it's too hard for men and women to go through that where they feel that remorse or, somebody else took their place and ended up losing their life and they feel remorse for that was my position. I should have been there. So there's a lot of reasons why our approach to helping people is so significantly different. And, and we get backlash. We understand it's not the tough way and that we get it. We don't want to be tough. We want to make you be okay when you're not tough, man. Cause that's when you're breaking is when you've had enough of being tough. You've had enough of having all the weight on your shoulders and you come to us and we're here for you. I'll carry you the rest of the way.
Yeah, you just need support. Sometimes that's all you need is somebody to listen to you and to understand or not judge, even if they don't understand.
100%.
Just not to judge it. I talked to a veteran, I think it was last year, and he talked about really feeling guilty because somebody agreed to take point on a mission they went on, and that person, stepped on a mine. And so, that was supposed to be him. And so he had a lot of guilt around that, like that was supposed to be me, not him. Why was it him? And so what you're talking about is so very true is that, you do have that if you were supposed to be in a certain role or a certain place and somebody else took that place for whatever reason, and then they didn't make it, then, you have that guilt of saying, well, that was my place. Why did they have to go and not me? So I get it. And that is hard. And people just need to understand that even though, like you said, even if you didn't go and do something, and you wanted to, but you just weren't assigned for whatever reason, you have a lot of guilt around that too, because somebody else went and they didn't come back.
Yes, 100%. And once we recognize these things and we're able to meet people at their pain, we can really help them, right? We walk with them. We don't walk for them. We don't, tell them what to do. We walk beside them. We give them multiple opportunities to have healing opportunities, and that's how we meet them. That's how we all should be met in this world. Sometimes it doesn't happen that way, but we know that it's necessary.
So I don't think we really got to it, but how long in between when you got out of the service until you started this? Because you said you tried several jobs on for size and they just weren't what you were needing or what you felt like you should be doing. So how long did it actually take you to find what you should be doing?
5 years.
5 years.
5 years, yeah. I just did the time in my head. 5 years, and it was, even up till this year, I've still, gone through stuff, and I can say that, being able to truly tell people who I am, where I'm from, what I've experienced in life was like a whole weight lifted off my shoulders, because, I was given this advice from an ex, and she was like, you should just let people know. I think people would really love you more for it, because what you're doing is beautiful. But if you tell them really who you are and what you've done in this life, they would love you much more for it and support you harder. And man, was she right. Obviously, there's some that won't, but the people that do, that's how we get a lot of these help. People are like, man, this guy's, he's telling us everything. There's no hiding anything. There's transparency. He risked a lot to get this going. And I'm like, it wasn't just me, like I said, Peter Flom, Matthew Couch, Cynthia Salazar, man, there's so many people I can name off that just helped us get to where we're at today. Mooney from My SOS Family, so many people that just really assisted us in getting to this place where we're at, so that we could assist people without any red tape, any real criteria that keeps us from going forward. They're the reason we're here today, right? I had the concept, but they pushed me over the line and said, "This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it." And like I said, those two brothers of mine, Landon Tate, like he's an amazing brother as well. He's with 22-0. He's done a lot with me. We've saved together maybe close to 20, 30 people just with financial services and food and other, assistance programs. There's so many brothers and sisters out there that want to help, and if I could use this platform, like, please sign up if you guys can, don't hesitate. Go on our website. There's a volunteer site for just volunteering on our board or volunteering on responders or medical physicians. If you're a nurse or above, you're more than welcome to respond, because you are crisis intervention certified.
So what about paramedics? Would they
Paramedics
count?
are welcome to do. Yep, they're also welcome to sign up. Any medical professional that would like to help us is more than welcome to jump on and truly assist in a way that helps. And like I said, I always like showing people how fast it responds. Like, I'm going to push the button so you can see how fast it works. I'm testing it. I have it in test mode. So I complete the circle, it locks it, and then it'll immediately start ringing everywhere else. So once it makes a full circle, it unlocks again. So now I can cancel this call, or I can keep it going, and it'll tell me who's going to assist me.
So if you cancel it, does somebody call back? Because from 911 experience that people, like, they call 911 and they go, "Oh, never mind," and they hang up. And so, 911 calls back because
So the location is being shared. Yeah, no, 911 does not call back. 911 doesn't even get involved. It's already
I mean, like, if you had reached out to 911 and you hang up, they call you back. So with this type of platform, if somebody reaches out and then they cancel it, does somebody then just kind of follow up and say, "Hey, I noticed that you were on the app. Is there something we can do?"
So as we canceled it, it'll send me a text message. It'll send me and the therapist a text message that that somebody canceled the call. And it'll tell us where where the person is at, the location. So we'll be able to call them immediately and ask them like, hey, are you okay? We saw that you canceled the call too fast. Were you just testing a button? What were you, what was the thing behind it?
Yeah, because that's kind of my thought, is because people sometimes they get brave and they're like, I'm going to call. And then all of a sudden they back out and they're like, oh, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to do this, but they really do need help. So that follow-up phone call, I think, is so important, because they wanted to reach out, but decided against it for whatever reason. And then somebody actually calling them back and following up, then they can really end up helping them. And probably the person does really want to talk. They just didn't want to. They were kind of afraid to, I guess.
Yeah, and it'll send all that information. Hold on, let me brighten it. So it'll send all that information to us in an actual message telling us like what happened, why they canceled right away, who responded. So it told me who responded was James Boomauer. He's out of New Jersey, and he responded, SOS was sent successfully. I canceled it, but James responded to my call.
That's really neat. It's I think everybody should take this app and take it to their VFW, to their American Legion, to maybe their VA hospital where they have groups that meet or something, and then everybody should get signed up and be able to help one another. And so if somebody wants to volunteer, you said they can go to your website, but how many volunteers do you think you have across the platform?
Across the platform, I think right now what we've seen is about 1,500 across the nation, right?
Wow.
It's not a lot when you think about it in the nation.
Well, it is a lot, though. I mean, 1,500 of volunteers, that's pretty significant.
And like I said, they're in pockets. Like Arizona is a heavy pocket for us. I'm not sure why. So we have a lot of volunteers out of Arizona. Florida, New Jersey is a heavy site for us. And we're having a meeting with an organization called Stack Up, which does online gaming. And they provide gaming councils for veterans and first responders. But their whole group of, I think they have 10,000 people. We're having a seminar where they're going to sign up, learn the classes. They're going to do a little bit of QPR, and they're going to be able to be responders for each other on the online forum. Discord.
That's awesome. Gamers helping gamers. I love it.
Gamers help gamers. That's going to be an amazing way to help them, each other respond. If they see somebody that, hasn't been online, because that's a great way to like dictate what's happening with somebody. If they haven't been online in a while, like, hey, they push the button, send us an SOS. Can you reach out to this person? Because it works that way too. You can send out an SOS for someone else. You don't have to be the person that is in trouble or having issues. You can press it for somebody else.
That's a great way to do it. I mean, because sometimes it takes somebody else reaching out and having that person then feel like, somebody cares, so I think that's a great way to do it too. And being able to submit for somebody else that you can't contact and they're part of the platform, and then somebody else can just follow up. I think that's great.
Yes. Like I said, it's for the families as well, because we do support families. We have the Veteran Spouse Network that is really supportive of us. They give courses on how to, be able to be involved in a relationship with a first responder or a veteran, because as you may know, these relationships with us are crazy hard. We're not easy to get along with because we have our own things going on, but we try our best.
Right. Travis, he's one of our hosts on the Oscar Mike radio show. He's actually on Thursdays. It says, I think video games are underutilized. The community can come together and hang out. Yeah, for sure.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So what else would you like to tell us about your platform? We probably have about 12 minutes left, and I really want you to be able to highlight something else that we haven't talked about yet. Is there anything else on the platform or anything other step that would help you and your organization to further the mission?
Please, if you're a nonprofit that has a service that would like to partner up, please reach out to us. We're always looking for more partners to help with resources for our brothers and sisters. Not only that, but, again, our main hope is that we don't ask our brothers and sisters for funding, help us with corporate sponsorships, things like that, because that's who can do it with us, right? It's not our brothers and sisters that we will ever ask for anything, because they're already in need. Grocery stores, if they want to donate food or anything, we're willing to take it and give it to our veterans and first responders that need it. any of those things.
Yeah, just gift cards are amazing because then you can get what they really need. So,
Yes.
grocery store gift cards or gift cards for some other type of service or something that is helpful for veterans for sure.
Yes. Again, it's a very simple tool. We aren't going to save. We like our whole purpose is understanding that we are not the number one tool, and we never want to be that. We have 72,000 organizations that are VSOs, veteran service organizations. 72,000, so the resources aren't limited,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
But if we're all trying to do one piece of the pie instead of like 72,000 armies coming together and saying, let's do it together, let's fight this together, you still stay in your lane, but you send them to us to do what we do in your state, we can't not fight this the right way then, right? We can't stop what's happening. We wouldn't need the government to help us because we know that sometimes that's not going to work. That can freeze at any point in time. But we can help each other do it together. And that's what it's going to take is one another, like we did in the military. I have your six, you have my six, and we're going to get this done.
Yeah, I mean, just connecting dots too, like you said, with other organizations for veterans and just putting those links together so that somebody can get to the right resource and can get help or something can get promoted that's helping veterans in this way to keep them from having to push the button. Like for instance, MBR, we do podcasting to help with rehabilitation for service members and for first responders. So if someone needs that type of therapy where they want to do a kind of a talk show and kind of do talk therapy with somebody else and work out whatever things are going on with them, this is another platform for them to use. So they can always come here and we can help train them and get them doing something. We do have a gaming platform too, but we're still working that out. And then we're working on cartoons too, animation and things like that, so that we can really help support veterans. So I think, like you said, if we can all work together to make a holistic approach of help for veterans and first responders, then we're going to succeed if we're all moving in the same direction instead of each wheel moving independently in an opposite direction.
100%. Let's all row together.
Right.
That's the only way we can get anything done. And sincerely, if I could end it this way, is we all make mistakes. We all do things that we don't understand ourselves because of our inability to really process things when we're in the darkest moments of our lives.
Yeah.
You are full of redemption. I am here to help you with whatever you've done. I don't care what it is, what time of the day. That phone, as you've heard it, I'm sure you've been hearing it. It bings all the time, and that's people reaching out for help. We are here. We're not going anywhere. We're not going to say no to you. We're going to find a way to help, and we will do it, hand in hand. And, I'd rather have you here on this planet with me, at least, hurting a little bit for a little bit of time than taking that pain and transferring over to somebody else, because suicide does not end with you. It only transfers that pain to somebody else. And it's one of the things that just most people don't understand. Yes, your life may have ended and you may not feel that hurt anymore, but now you've passed it on to 6 or 7 people. That's
true.
We got to end this cycle of that. Please reach out. Please be here with us. Don't hesitate to reach out. I've done it all. Like I said, I'm not a clean human. I'm not anything special. But I know what it takes to truly make it out of this darkness to get to the right place in life.
How do you kind of decompress? Because if you're in this all the time, 24 hours a day, listening to your phone and all that, how do you find a place to kind of take a step back and take a breath and kind of reset yourself?
Equine. Believe it or not,
yes.
Horses are, man, I can't even explain to you how much they regulate. Within the first hour, people notice an 80% change in their body regulation. It is insane how fast horses can regulate you from like being exacerbated or angry or sad, whatever that may be, to just feeling good. Just even by petting a horse, it changes your whole body. It really does. You connect with a horse in a way that I've never known before. I also have a dog that I was given by puppy Jake. So I have a dog, and my daughter is one of my biggest supporters. She's amazing. It's just her and I. So, she does a lot of assisting with getting me online today and helping with technology. She's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's the reason I stay safe and do things I'm supposed to do.
Well, I'm glad that you get your resources too, because, the caregiver has to have some people supporting them too, because at some point you kind of get burnt out. So I'm glad that you have that around you, because you are absolutely right. Horses really do lower your heart rate, because they can sense it, and they can sense what you're feeling, and they kind of like almost will mirror it. So if you're afraid, they're afraid. If you're if you're calm, they're calm. And then just being with them can help calm and lower your heart rate. So you're absolutely correct. So I'm glad you're taking advantage of that type of therapy too.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's, it's here for all of us. Chase will tell you guys, come on down, take a weekend and just come pet a horse. We have a lot of them. She's the most beautiful person you could ever meet. 7820 Vandalia Road in Iowa, Runnels, Iowa. Everybody's welcome to come down and have a session. We'll provide sessions for everybody. It is truly a healing experience. I can't explain to you how healing it is. It gives you difference from day and night.
Is there like housing or something around where they could stay and take in a session or two?
Yeah. If they need anything like that, we'll provide them with an Airbnb or a hotel stay, and we'll get them to go to the session and be there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's been great talking to you. Do you have any closing thoughts? So anything that we didn't talk about that you want to put out, or what would you say to somebody that's thinking about downloading the app and reaching out for help, but they're not sure if they should do it because they're like, more people are more broken than I am. I don't think I'm deserving of this. What would you say to those people?
You matter. I want you here with me. You matter. Please don't let anybody tell you that you are not worth it, that your mistakes are, that you're not. Again, like, redemption is for everybody. And I'm religious, so, God didn't, end his life and, put himself on a cross for the good people. He did it for everybody, right? He did it for all our sins. And I want to make sure everybody understands that we are his children and we're here to help each other, right? So
absolutely.
If you believe in the Lord, please know that we're here for you in any capacity without judgment.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for being on, and your organization is QRF Up, and the address is there at the bottom, and the Facebook QRF Up is also how you would search you up on Facebook. And how do you get you on Instagram? Is it still QRF Up?
QRF Up organization.
Okay. Well, it's been great having you, and we look forward to hearing you on the H Train show on Friday. So tune in, and H is going to be talking to Rameses. And thank you so much for being on the program and sharing your app and your mission with us. I think more people need to take this app out to their organizations and download it, because I know I'll be taking it to the American Legion at our next meeting.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Have a great evening.
Thank you. This is Tracy Round signing off.
Life is like a duck. Tough times don't last, but tough people do. Here at Military Broadcast Radio, we're teaming up with our friends at Die Tired, the veteran-friendly music band spreading strength, resilience, and mental health awareness, one shirt at a time.
And check this out. Their brand new shirts feature broadcast beaker right on the breast pocket. A reminder that you can weather the storm, and you're never alone.
Shirts are only $25, and proceeds support giving veterans a voice. MBR's mission to teach veterans how to podcast and videocast. Because when our vets are talking, they're not overthinking. They're not second-guessing. Together, we stop the 22 stigma. Grab your shirt today at mbradio.us and hit the shop. Or go directly to toramerch.printavo.com/merch/dietiredband. That's toramerch.printavo.com/merch/dietiredband.
Suit up, stand strong.
Remember, we're unduckable together.
You're built tougher than the storm.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.